Hello everyone, welcome back to another video presentation. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Tribe DJ. Tribe is an application in Oculus Quest and you can use it to mix your tracks and do your normal DJ work the same way you use a normal DJ deck in real life. It has every tool needed for you to do all the mixing. You can also add more than 2 decks. You can make your deck up to 4. So I'm going to show you how to use this application. The good thing about this deck is that anybody can use it. You can hold it and bring it up. Bring your deck up. You can see this is under my deck. You can still hold this and bring your deck down. Down, 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 down. You see, the deck is very far from me. I cannot even touch it from here. So what I have to do is carry it up again and keep it to the level whereby I can be able to mix. Meanwhile, for those of you that would like to check out my mixing, I did a mixing with the Nigerian songs, and I'm going to put it in the description below this video. I could not upload it in my YouTube because of copyright claim. So I'm going to put it in the description below this video. The first link you're going to see is going to be my mixing in this video, because why I could not upload it in my YouTube channel because of copyright claim. So if I upload it, they will ban it or not allow people to see it. So that's why I uploaded it on Facebook. So you can check it out, after watching this video. Now we're going to go through the tutorial of DJ Tribe. First thing we need to do is click on the button and this window pops up. Now click on lesson. And don't forget that if you go back here to the home page, you can change the language from here to Korea, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, French, German, Italy, and these are the languages that are here. So we're going to go through the lesson. If you look down here, you see lesson. Click on the lesson and check out start lesson.
Hello DJ, my name is DJ Hapa, also known as the DJ Coach. Welcome to Tribe, where you're among fellow music lovers who want to share our love and passion for music with the rest of the world. I'm here to help you get started, so let's get going. First off, you should be in front of the decks. Now, for some reason, the decks are not in front of you. Go ahead and hit the Y button on your left-hand controller. That Y button will reset the decks and snap you right behind them. But speaking of decks, you have a full setup in front of you. This type of rig you would find on a festival stage or nightclubs around the world, and I don't want you to be intimidated. I know there's a ton of knobs and faders and buttons. What does it all do? Don't worry, I'll show you how it all works. But just to point this out, you have 2 decks. Here's one deck, here's your second deck, and here's the mixer in the middle. My job here at Tribe is to help you get started and to pick up some momentum. So we've created some lessons that will walk you through some of the basics. I'll explain a concept, and I'll do it, and then you'll do it. And by the time we're done, you will... So I know that some of us might be newer to VR. So if I hold my palms up to the sky, we'll see this blue sphere. This is the contact point. So as I hover over a fader or a knob or a button, it will light up blue. And that means it's ready to be controlled. In fact, I actually have a pink bar right in front of me if you look down, and I can raise or lower the height of the table. Pretty cool feature. So I'm going to use my trigger finger to be able to grab either a fader or a knob or a button, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Here we go. I'm going to hover over the volume fader. I'm going to grab it by holding the trigger in, and now I can move my arm, my wrist with it, and it's like I'm controlling an actual fader. Same thing with the knob. I can hover over the low, and I'm just twisting my wrist as I'm holding it, just like I would a regular knob. If I hit a button, same thing. Great. In fact, actually, even with the jog wheel, I can rewind it. Pretty cool, right? All right, let me get out of the way so that you can try it out. And when you are ready to move on to the next lesson, just go ahead and click Next Lesson.
So loading music, let's go to the loading the music.
Let's talk about loading songs. So we need some music to be able to DJ with. So let me show you where we can get our music. Go ahead and hit B on the right-hand controller. That'll bring up our menu. The second icon in is music. Let's click on that. And here's where we're going to find our sample songs. So let's go ahead and load one song onto one deck, and then let's load another song onto our other deck. So now, just to ensure that the songs have come in properly, if I look over at the top of the CDJ, there is a screen. Inside of that screen, we'll see a waveform that's been built. We'll see the title of the song and the BPM. And I can see I've got that on both decks, which means awesome, we're good to go. So now it's your turn. All I'm going to have you do is just load 2 songs, one on each deck, and then when you're ready, go ahead and click Next Lesson. Go for it.
So this is how to load song. Let's go to B button and check play and pause. Play and pause is easy. You can play and pause with these 2 buttons on the right and the left side. This is for deck 2 and this is for deck 1. So I'm not going to go to the play and pause. Let's go to the cue so that you understand what cue is in DJ Mix.
Now, the cue button is a little trickier. In fact, this is what I would call a bookmark. So it's like a temporary bookmark, and right now it's set to the very beginning of the track. And the way that I know that is if you hover over, you'll be able to see there's a little orange triangle right at the very beginning. That is our temporary cue. And you can tell that this is orange and that triangle is orange, so they correspond. So watch what happens when I hit the cue. I'm holding the trigger down and it's playing. As soon as I let my hand off the trigger, it goes back to the very beginning, back to that orange part. So, now, this is a way that I can preview the song before playing it. And in fact, this is great as you're listening to a song and auditioning it before bringing it into the mix. So, as I do this, and I go back to the top, I'm actually saving myself a lot of time. The alternative would be to hit play, then hit pause, then rewind the song back to the top. By using cue, I'm saving a lot of time and a lot of effort by just using cue and holding it down. So I want you to try something. It's going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift your hand off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift your hand off. So I'm just letting this play for 4 beats. Great. Now it's your turn. Give this a shot, and when you're ready to move on, go ahead and click Next to move on to the next lesson.
Okay, now let's go to the play and cue and understand what play and cue means.
Now, I can use cue and play together, and I want to show you how we do this. This is a very common gesture that DJs will use on physical hardware. You'll see this happen a lot now that I point this out. When you watch DJs play off of CDJs like this, you'll see how people are using the cue and the play button together. So let's start by holding this down. And now, as I'm holding it, with my other hand, I can go ahead and click play. And as I do, I can let my hand off of both of those, and it's going to continue to play. So, and if I want to go back to the beginning, I'm not going to hit pause. I'm going to hit cue. And it goes right back to that orange triangle, which was set up to the very beginning. So again, I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to hit cue. And then with my other hand, I'm going to hit play. Let both hands off, and now it's playing. Now if I want to get back to the very beginning, do I hit play or do I hit cue? I hit cue. And gets back to the very beginning. And now the reason why it goes back to the very beginning is because, again, that's where the cue is set up to that triangle. Later on, we'll show you how we can actually move the cue and cue up to a different part within the song. We'll show you that next. But first, I want you to give this a shot. So go ahead and try that, and when you're ready to move on, go ahead and click Next to move on to the next lesson.
Okay, so moving the cue. Let's go over to moving the cue.
You are doing so awesome. I just want you to know that. We are going to keep going, and I'm going to show you how we can move the cue. So let's say we had the cue at the very beginning, which we have right now, but let's say we didn't want it there. Let's say we wanted it somewhere else in the track. Well, the way to move it would be this. I'm going to go ahead and start playing. And when I pause it, let's pause it right here. Now you'll notice that the cue is blinking. You see how that yellow light is blinking? That means it's ready to record my new cue. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cue, and you'll see what happens is that jumped over. So if I look over the deck, we'll see that that orange triangle is no longer at the very beginning. It is now where I just set it to be. So now when I hit this, it's taking it from that point. Great. So what I want you to do is you can choose anywhere in the song you want, but I want you to move the temporary cue. And then I want you to move it back. So I want you to move it somewhere to your liking, and then for good measure and for good practice, I want you to move it back to the very beginning. Okay? Great. And once you've done that, I want you to go ahead and click next so we can move on to the next lesson.
So let's go over to the next topic, which is rewind.
Now I want to show you how we can use the jog wheel to rewind or fast forward our track. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play first. You'll notice that this is spinning, and I can rewind this back by moving in a counterclockwise manner, or I can fast forward by using a clockwise motion. And let's say that's where I wanted my cue, so going back to what we just did, I can go ahead and hit a cue there and now have that there. But the main point of this lesson is I want you to be comfortable moving the jog wheel. And while we are not quite scratching yet, you can see that this demonstrates a lot of control, and you can really use the jog wheel to be able to get in there to the exact spot that you want. I also think it's pretty trippy to be able to do this in virtual reality like this. So I want you to give that a shot. I want you just to be able to grab the jog wheel, fast forward it, rewind it. Just get used to being able to grab the jog wheel and use it, and use your wrist to be able to do that. Once you're ready to move on, go ahead and click next to move on to the next lesson.
So let's go over to the next lesson, which is needle search.
Now, let's talk about something called needle search. This is a way that we can use our finger to move forward and backwards throughout the song to be able to find a point that we want to be able to jump to. So, if I go ahead and hover over the player right between the jog wheel and the screen, you'll see this bar right here. This is our needle search. So if I go ahead and press that, I can hold it and then move this white line, which is basically our playhead. I can move that to wherever I want. So let's say I move it here, and then I can actually use this in combination with the jog wheel itself. Get a lot tighter to the point that I want, and let's say, okay, that's where I want my new cue point to be. Now, another great way to use the needle search is to get back to the very beginning quickly. So instead of having to rewind this all the way back to the beginning by hand, I can use the needle search and grab it and bring it all the way back to the beginning, and then I can reset my cue point to be there as well. Great, so now what I want you to do is I want you to try it, and I want you to move the needle search to somewhere in the middle of the track, and then I want you to try to set a cue there. And then I want you to bring it back to the very beginning, and then I want you to set a cue there as well. So this is all, as you can see, it's all culminating into what we're putting together. And actually what we're going to do very shortly here is we're going to start to mix two songs together. So, and everything that we're learning right now is moving towards that. So come on in here, give that a shot, and when you're ready to move on, go ahead and click next to move on to the next lesson.
Okay, so let's go over to volume fader.
Okay, let's talk about the volume. So right here in the mixer section, I know we've been spending a lot of time looking at the players themselves, but let's talk about the mixer section here. There is a volume control for each one of my players, and you can see I've got a volume fader here, and this is controlling this deck. I've got a volume fader here, and this is controlling this deck. Now, you're also noticing that I'm using both of my hands. But we're not going to use both of our hands at the same time when we're mixing these songs together. So I just want you to be able to grab this volume fader and be able to move it up and down. You can slowly bring it up and down, or we can sort of quickly bring this up and down. Let me show you what this sounds like if you've got the song playing. It's a slow fade out, slow fade up, or quick fade down. Noticing that I can do this rhythmically as well, right? So volume fader, I want you to go ahead and try and grab it and try it slow, and then also try it fast. And when you're ready to move on, go ahead and click next, and we'll move on to our next lesson.
So let's go over to crossfader, the next lesson. We're getting to the end of this lesson.
Let's talk about the crossfader. So this is a special type of fader. It's at the very bottom of the mixer. It allows me to go between two songs, but even more importantly, it allows me to mix two songs together at the same time so that we can hear both songs playing at the same time. Just like the channel faders, I go ahead and grab that by holding down the trigger, and now I can move from left to right. So if I'm all the way over here on A, I'm just hearing this song. If I'm all the way over here, I'm only hearing this song. And if I'm anywhere in the middle, I'm going to be hearing both. So let me show you how this works. Go ahead and grab that. All the way over here, we're not hearing anything. Right? And if I'm in the middle, I'm going to hear both. Why don't you go ahead and give that a shot, and when you are ready to move on, go ahead and click next to move on to the next lesson. Let's talk about EQ. EQ stands for equalizer, and that represents these three knobs right here. I've got a high, a mid, and a low. These are knobs that will control the dynamic of the sound and will change the way that the song sounds. So low is for our lower frequencies, our middle frequencies, and then our higher frequencies are the EQ high. I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to play a song, take out the low. All of the bass sounds, all of the low end came out of it. Bring it back to the middle. And it's nice to do this on beat. Take out the mid. Oops, I actually brought out the high instead. Let me grab the mid. When I take out the mid, you'll still hear the low, and you'll still hear the high, but it sounds hollow. The mid back. And now let's do the high. All the treble sounds have been taken out, so I've just got mid and low end.
We call them lumberjacks. You know, Biggie said he had the hat to match. We call them lumberjacks. You know.
Now, where this is really important is when we're trying to mix two songs together. I've got low, mid, and high of this one, and I've got low, mid, and high of this one. So using the EQ can really smooth out the mix, and it's definitely something to try out. So I want to let you try that. And when you're ready, go ahead and hit next, and we're going to move on to putting it all together.
We call them lumberjacks. You know, Biggie said, 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 Biggie said he had the hat to match.
So let's go to the third to the last, which is filter effects.
Can I give you a bonus? I just want to give you one more thing. There's so much more to this too. This is just about getting started, but I do want to give you one more thing because it corresponds to the EQ as well, but it's one knob that will allow us to control multiple frequencies at the same time, and that is the filter. Now, there are multiple steps to the filter, and in fact, the filter is a full range filter here, so it goes from high to low. And I want to show you what I'm talking about. So if we lean over, you'll see this color knob that's underneath where the low is. And if I go to the left, this is going to create a low pass filter. If I go to the right, this will create a high pass filter, which basically means if you go to the left, this is letting the lows pass through. If I go to the right, it's letting the highs pass through as a high pass filter. But in order to actually have this knob do anything, I have to turn it on. And here it is right here. So you can see this bar that goes across. These are our color effects. And here it is right here, filter. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. When I turn it on, it lights up. So now when I move this knob, it's going to be affected. So check it out. Oh, that's cool, yeah? High pass filter. Back to the middle, and it turns the filter off. When I get back to the middle, it stops the filter. I come here, this is low pass filter, high pass filter. Cool, right? Now another way that I can turn off the filter is by using my other hand to turn off that button. So check it out.
Biggie said he had the hat to match. We call them lumberjacks. You know,
Filter going, low pass, and
we call them lumberjacks. You know,
wait, I didn't hit that right. Here we go.
We call them lumberjacks. You know, Biggie said he had the hat to match. We call them lumberjacks. You know, Biggie said, Biggie said, Biggie
Sorry,
said.
I got a little carried away. I'm having too much fun over here. I almost didn't let you get a chance to try this out. So now I want you to go ahead and try that out with the filter. High pass, low pass, get used to being able to turn it on, turn it off, and this is the last step before we start mixing these songs together. So go ahead, get on in there, try the filter out, and when you're ready, go ahead and hit next, click next to move on to that next lesson where we put it all together.
So let's go over to all together.
Okay, now is the time. We're going to put it all together. And before we do, I just want to point out one other thing. We have a sync button here. Now, later on, you may want to try and put yourself up to the challenge of learning how to manually beat match. That's how I started learning how to DJ. And a lot of people have learned how to manually beat match, and it's a great thing to learn as a DJ. However, today, for this mix, we are going to use the sync button here. So we're going to sync these songs together, and what this will do is this will beat sync our two tracks together so that they are the same BPM and they are lined up together. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start with this song. We're going to start on the left side, and we're going to mix to the right side, and we're going to use our crossfader to be able to do that. We will use our volume faders a little bit. We'll use the EQ, the filter a bit. We're going to put it all together. So let's go ahead and turn on the filter just so we have that ready to go. And now, let me go ahead and bring in the song. Remember that technique? Good. Now make sure you're moving to it too. Nice. Get a little filter. Good. All right. I'm just going to mess around a little bit, and then I'm going to have you go. So I'm just demonstrating some of the things as it all comes together. Let's start with the crossfade over here. Here we go. They're both playing at the same time. Take this low out.
We call them lumberjacks.
Nice.
You know, Biggie said he had the hat to match.
So now
we
we're
call
on
them
to this
lumberjacks.
Song.
You know,
Technically,
Biggie
we
said
could load
he had the
another
hat to
song and then
match.
just kind
We
of
call
keep
them
this going.
lumberjacks.
That's the whole idea.
You know,
the whole idea here is that we're mixing from one song to the next, and then we would bring up the third song on this side. And we'd mix that song in. And then we keep going. Pretty fun, right? All right, so let me now let you try this. I want you to go ahead and try this, and let me know how much fun you're having after this. Make sure to reach out. But I've given you all of the tools so far for you to be able to put this all together. I want you to put this all together and see how it feels for you. When you are ready to move on, I have one more thing that I want to show you before I completely set you off on your own, and that is the virtual headphones. So go ahead and try this out first, and then go ahead and click next, and we'll move on to our last and final lesson.
So let's go over to the virtual headphone.
That was so much fun. I don't know about you, but I just get swept into DJing, and the time just seems to disappear. But our time has come. I want to show you one more thing before we get out of here, which is something called the virtual headphones. So when I'm DJing on a rig in the real world, I've got music that's playing out through the speakers, and I've got my headphones on. Now what the headphones allow me to do is to be one step ahead and to be able to hear the song that I'm bringing in next. And we have the ability to do that inside of Tribe. We have this thing called virtual headphones. So even if you're wearing headphones right now, by turning on the virtual headphones, you'll be able to hear before the audience hears what you're actually hearing. So it'll allow you to still stay that one step ahead. So in order to activate it, all you need to do is put your hand up to your ear and go ahead and then hit the trigger. And watch what happens down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the mixer. Light comes on. That lets us know that our virtual headphones are on and activated and ready to go. Now, we'll get deeper into how to actually use the headphones more, and how to manually beat match, and how to prepare sets, and all that kind of good stuff at a later time. But I want to let you try that, number one, and I also want to thank you for going through this process with me. I had a ton of fun doing it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you had fun as well. And now it's my turn to set you off into the world and let you do your own thing and have free play and start to figure some things out on your own and start to play some music together and share it with the rest of the world that's out there. So I want to let you go, but I also want to remind you that at any point in time, you can come back, you can rewatch these lessons. You can also come back and visit me, because I've got more things coming. So you can find us inside of the free play, inside of the main menu. You'll be able to come on back here and hang out with yours truly. My name is DJ Hapa. They call me the DJ Coach. I'm excited to be your coach. I'll see you out there.
So I'm not putting on any earphones, so I can be able to activate this. So as you guys can see, this is the tutorial of Tribe DJ. You can virtually do everything in Tribe DJ. And if you would like to see where I did my mixing, just because of copyright claim, I could not upload my own mixing in this my YouTube channel because of copyright claim, because I used the normal Nigerian songs to do the mixing, you know, Davido, T.Y. Savage, all the songs. So in case if you would like to see my mixing, I'll put a link in the description below this video for you to check out my mixing in my Facebook page. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and also if this is your first time of being to my YouTube channel, don't forget to hit the subscription button and also the bell button so that you'll be notified when I upload a new video. I will see you guys in my next video. You guys should stay creative and remain blessed.